And we are live. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Hangout here tonight. It's going to be the Chris and Chris show. I know you guys are all super excited for that. You had no idea that was coming. But I'm excited for our guests. We're going to wait just a few seconds here because people do typically kind of straggle in for viewers, so I want to make sure that nobody misses the start of this. But I'm very excited for our guest tonight. I've already got to take a look through his slide deck. And I'm telling you, the one thing you guys want to do is you want to stay till the end and listen to the whole presentation, ask questions, and take notes, because the information he has is extremely valuable. And I think that this may be one of the best hours you spend of your week here on this Hangout. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Chris on the other side of the screen. Are you in California, maybe?
Yeah, actually, I'm in just a little bit south of Seattle, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, he's out on the West Coast, so I'm going to turn it over to him, let him do an introduction, and then I'll just kind of play host and ask questions and kind of let him do his thing.
Sounds good. All right, well, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen here, and should be good to go. Can you see my slides
How to
here?
get more reviews for your products on Amazon. That looks like a great question.
All right, we're good to go. Well, cool. Yeah, so that's what we'll be covering. We're going to talk about 4 different things. First, why you should get more reviews. And I know from talking with you before, Chris, that not everyone here is doing private label type products. Most people are doing, retail arbitrage and other strategies like that as well. But some people are kind of doing both or hybrid, or they're starting to do either or. So reviews, more specifically apply to private label, but we'll get into that. We'll also be doing specific strategies and tools that I'm using to get more reviews, and I'll show a tool that we built that's a bonus for you all to check out as well. And then I'll also show the exact script that I've been using for getting people to review my products, so you can actually copy and adapt that if you'd like to your own model. And then finally, as Chris mentioned before, we're gonna have an extra bonus for you if you stay at the end and take action. So stick around, and of course, if you have any questions, ask them. And Chris, as I mentioned before, go ahead and interrupt me at any time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yep, I'm going to be fielding all the questions, and as you go along, if they fit in, I'll start asking them, so don't hesitate. And yeah, so I want to see about these barbecue brushes. Bring it on.
Yeah, so I use this as an example for people that, if people are familiar with AmaSuite, that's another product that I work on, but barbecue grill brushes is an example I use a lot, and so I'll use it to explore this topic here. And when I mentioned before about sellers not always getting this, they don't always get the idea of getting reviews. You can see this on a lot of new listings, and even people that have been around a bit longer, right? So here's some of these with 4 reviews, 3. This one was 6, and looking at this one a little bit further, this is a question I like to ask is, what's wrong with this picture, right? You look at these reviews, and normally I can see the questions sometimes, but I can't see the questions. So I'm going to, if you see the questions that are the answers people are saying, but you can let me know, Chris. But
yeah, I'm seeing them here, and it's we got cool, nice, great deal.
Yeah.
They eventually wear out, but this is one of better ones.
Yeah.
Those aren't very good reviews.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that people always say is the reviews aren't very good. The other thing that I really kind of wanted to draw people's attention to is that, it's been over 6 months and this seller only has 6 reviews. Now, that listing might have a little bit more reviews than when I last checked, but the biggest thing is that when people are doing private label and launching a product, it's something that you can easily control. And so you want to make sure that you don't make the same mistake as this seller does, and a lot of new sellers do. And so if you compare that to, other barbecue grill brushes, and you see, where their bestseller ranks are located, typically you're going to see the more reviews a product has, the more sales it has. Now, it's not the only determining factor, of course, but this is something that you can easily control. And so we're going to be talking all about that. And really it comes down to, the more reviews you have provides more social proof, more consumer confidence, and that helps with more sales. And you think, yeah,
I'm going to stop you right there. Social, that I really think that even as a consumer, and I look through things as a consumer, a lot of it, the more people that said this is a good product, I tend to believe them. And even if I don't know who in the world these people are, if 100 people tell me it's good, I'm going to be better off.
Definitely. Sorry, I think I lost you there for a second, but yeah.
Oh,
And that's the thing is, you think about your own purchasing behavior and you're always going to be looking at these products with a lot of reviews. And so ultimately, if you look at what Amazon wants, they want to generate sales. And so then if you translate that to yourself as a business owner, who do they like? Well, they're going to like people that generate more sales for them. And so a lot of the decisions about how to run your business in terms of selling on Amazon can really be answered by just looking at these two questions and having a good reason for why you do them. How can I generate more sales? How can I get Amazon to like me more by making them more money? And so doing things like increasing your conversion rate will help with everything else, like your sales, your keyword rankings, et cetera. And again, those are more applicable to private label. But there's also, other factors that can influence that conversion rate as well, like your title, the images, the bullet points, the description. And frankly, we could do an entire presentation on just the copy that you use within your sales page. But really but really we'll talk about primarily social proof. That's what we're going to focus on. So reviews. And, I spent a fair amount of time already kind of beating to death this horse about getting reviews. But again, it's something you can easily control. And so I wanted to give you some strategies that you can use to get more reviews. Okay, so these are the 5 primary strategies, and we'll go into each of them. And some of these, as soon as you first see them, like friends and family, for example, there's some caveats to that, and we'll get to it. So friends and family, one strategy. Top 10,000 reviewers is another. Using product launch services, there's lots of those out there. Your own list of VIP reviewers, and then an email follow-up campaign. All right, so we'll talk about these 5 strategies. And then before we go any further, I mentioned this just a tab before, but what is and isn't allowed when it comes to selling on Amazon isn't always black and white. I'm sure that you've seen this time and time again.
Yeah, if you haven't been reading the blog lately, you'll see that there's a lot of things that aren't in black and white, and this is just one of them. So definitely make sure to listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's the thing, is that you'll see that, again, sometimes it's Amazon says you can't do this thing, and then people do it anyways. Like, for example, you aren't supposed to be able to put text in an image, and yet I see sellers doing it all the time and to huge degree. And then I hear from some sellers that they'll say, oh, Amazon contacted me and told me not to put the text in my listing, and then they remove it and then they add it back in later, right? So there's things that are in the gray region that people operate in, and it's this decision for you to decide, okay, is this what I want to do with my business, or do I want to take this risk? Is it acceptable? So I want to keep that in mind, just because in case something ever does get enforced from the strategies that I'm talking about today and they change rules or whatever, I want to make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll start with the first one, friends and family. This is a great area because more recently, and this isn't the most recent terms of service update they did, but there was one a little bit before the last one, and they specifically called out, to help illustrate, here are a few examples of reviews that we don't allow. And a product manufacturer posts a review of their own product, posting is done by a shopper, so that's pretty obvious. A shopper unhappy with a purchase posts multiple negative reviews for the same product. Well, that doesn't stop competitors sometimes from doing that, but that's a whole other conversation. And then you can see this, a customer posts a review in exchange for $5. So I've seen people do things where they do an email follow-up sequence and they ask for a review, and then they'll say, I'll give you a discount if you leave a review. Don't do that. That's definitely something you can get banned from. But then even kind of coming down here further to this line here, a family member of the product creator posts a 5-star customer review to help boost sales. And again, that's what a lot of people do when they first launch their products. They get their friends and family to do it. I don't use friends and family anymore because there's so many other strategies, and since Amazon updated this, it's just not really worth doing it. But that's something to keep in mind. Another strategy too is the top 10,000 reviewers. I'm going to assume that most people have heard of this, but maybe they haven't. Chris, I'm not sure if you.
I hadn't heard of this until I saw your slide deck.
Okay, cool. So on Amazon, if you and you can Google this, just Google top 10,000 reviewers Amazon, you'll find this page, and it's 10,000 customer reviewers. And these are people on Amazon that for whatever reason like to review products. And they like to review products in large quantities. And you can click through these profiles and you can see their email address, you can see their interests, and you can also learn a little bit more about these people. And so what you can do is actually just contact them and say, hey, I see you're interested in photography, and I have this new selfie stick or something, right? That's a terrible example. It's probably saturated as a product, but
I've seen so many things come across on like those discount things of selfie sticks. It's ridiculous.
yeah. So it's, lots of the examples that I use, maybe I used the example in the past and it was a good niche, but then through over time and more people moving into it and just using examples so much, it's not the best. But, so the idea is that you can find these people, and then the higher up they are on the review ranking, the more likely they are to list their email address. In fact, a lot of them do. Several thousand have their email address listed in the top 10,000. And then you can look at their interests and see if they're interested in what it is you're trying to sell. So you can contact them, and actually found this as a strategy because I was looking at products to sell, and I found this much larger company, and I found that they're an 8-figure company, because the owner had done a podcast somehow. I don't know. I'm not sure why they did, but he'd done a podcast, talked about his business, and then I thought, okay, well, I know how big they are now. But I looked at their products, and you can look at any product that's been sold on Amazon, and you can go back to the reviews area, and then you can go to, you can sort by the newest reviews, and then all you got to do is go to last page, right? So you sort by newest or most recent, I believe is the term. And then you can go to the very end of the page and you can see how they've gotten their reviews early on. And so this is a good strategy too if you're trying to launch a private label product and you want to figure out the people in your space, how they got their initial reviews. You can look at those, right? So if you see a lot of language like, I bought this product in exchange for a discount, then it's some type of a product launch service. If you see that I was given this product for free in exchange for a discount and they have a badge, a social proof badge saying they're a top 500 reviewer or top 20, et cetera, then that's a top 10,000 reviewer.
Okay.
So that's one strategy.
Is it sad that I'm now setting a goal to myself to get onto that list just for the heck of it? So that I can say that I am a top something because it's
I've talked to a few of them and they say they get an insane amount of email because sellers like us are going out there and contacting them. But yeah, I definitely think that'd be a fun thing to do, is to get up on that list. Third strategy is product launch services. And again, this one can be a great area because you want to avoid any service where you're buying a review. And again, this is obvious, but some people miss it. And even a while back, you probably may have even posted about this, but Amazon was suing websites that were doing bogus customer reviews, where they were doing things like putting an empty box and then putting a shipping label on it and then sending the fake product and getting reviews posted. So all that stuff, I guess if you think, hey, I hope no one catches me doing this, then it's definitely not something you should be doing.
I've one thing I do have to say is the ingenuity of people of coming up with these ways of trying to get around the rules are pretty impressive. I would have never thought of stuffing an empty box and shipping it to a friend or service to do this. That's got to take some sort of warped mindset to come up with that idea to go, I've got this business plan guy. It's like that guy that writes on potatoes and sends those. He makes a ton of money off of it, but it's just a weird business to come into.
Yeah, definitely. And so you want to avoid those services. There are a lot of, I don't have any specific service recommendations just because there are a lot now, especially it seems like there's new one being launched all the time. There's lots of these companies that you can reach out to, but I know that they work in terms of helping you to get some initial reviews, and then also to can help with some initial organic boost in sales as well. And then this strategy is nice. I like using your own list of VIP reviewers. I call them VIP because what we're basically doing is you're getting people onto your own email list you control. And so you can do that through things like product inserts. Again, this is a gray area because Amazon has guidelines about what you can and can't say to customers, but a lot of people are doing product inserts either through like a warranty registration card, and then that way that gets them onto their email list that way. But again, it's gray area. Keep that in mind. But what you can do as well is you can just focus on using your own traffic source. A lot of people that are doing private label products on Amazon, they aren't really focusing as much on off Amazon in terms of the strategy of driving traffic to their listings or anything else like that. And so if you are building your own website up, or you're driving traffic in some other way, then that can really help. If you're using your own website, then you have the most control over the traffic that you send and how you get the people to your email list. But you can also use other people's websites. I've contacted website owners that are in various niches and said, hey, I have this product. Would you be interested in giving it away for free? and all they would need to do is, join this email list, and then they get entered to win type of thing. Yeah. And so you can offer that, but what I found is that the larger the site, and this is what you'd expect, but the larger the site you contact, the more likely they're going to ask you to pay for the right to advertise that. But that's a nice kind of easy way to generate traffic to your own email list, as opposed to going to all the familiar areas people are going to. And you can also, again, go to Facebook groups. So Facebook groups for specific niches that you're interested in. And again, you got to talk to the admins. Don't just go in there and post in the Facebook group.
He's not telling you to go spam Facebook group.
Yeah.
I'll put him on that right now.
Yeah, don't do that. I know that just from your standpoint, Chris, you probably have people that come into your group and their first post is, hey, come use my Fiverr gig or something. I get a lot of
those. If someone comes in and posts another Ray-Ban, buy my Ray-Bans, I'm going to kill them. I'm not just going to block them. I'm going to find them, and we're just going to have a good old chat.
Yeah, so if you contact these Facebook groups, and you can find admins, and you can potentially do it. Again, you're going to get no's with these types of strategies because some people aren't interested in doing that. But, sometimes you'll find some yeses, and you can do that. And
always ask yourself, what's in it for them?
Yeah,
because
exactly, right.
With a Facebook group or a website, your barter may be, okay, I want to offer this product for free. We both get the email list out of it. That would be something that's a win-win for both of you. That would be an incentive for them to do that.
Definitely. Yep. Especially since the Facebook group people, they're not going to have the email lists of the people that are in their group for the most part, unless they have some other way that they've gotten people onto their group. And then, ultimately you're going to find that it's not that hard to find people to give your product away to, right? So if you're trying to get
free things for some odd reason.
Yeah. And so the biggest thing is just making sure that you're able to follow up with those people to ask for reviews once they do get your product. And so those 4 strategies are what I would call the when you launch sources, right? So your friends and family, which again, I don't use anymore, top 10,000 reviewers, product launch services, and then your own list of VIP reviewers, right? And really the idea is you want to get a bunch of reviews for your product early on so that you can get a solid base of reviews so that you have that social proof, so that you can have people that see your product when they're doing searches are going to be able to be interested in buying it, as opposed to finding one of those product listings with less than 10 reviews on it.
I mean, think about just one thing to think about is like I was looking at hotels this weekend. The hotel that doesn't have any reviews, I'm not going to stay at because I want to know the quality of that hotel. So always think back to how you as a consumer would act, and then put that into when you're doing your products. A lot of people don't think that. They think, well, my product's great. Well, yeah, you can say that, but what does the consumer want? Always think through their shoes or eyes or brain or whatever it is.
Definitely. Yep. And then, the long run, if you're thinking, okay, how do I create one of these listings where it's, 1,000+ reviews? And the goal for that would be that you have so many reviews and you are so well entrenched on Amazon's platform that people, they may try to compete with you, but they're just not really able to, because you've done such a good job at driving those reviews. And really the way that I found that you can do long run, lots of reviews, is through an email follow-up campaign. So again, these are real buyers, and then they're very unlikely to be removed. A little while back, Amazon did a terms of service update. And so even with the new terms of service, you can still do this strategy where you email and ask to do a review. And so the main thing, though, is you want to make sure you follow these rules. Number one, you don't want to link to your own website. This is obvious, but again, it's something that people make mistakes on. I see it all the time.
Now, see, here's something people may wonder: why is Amazon caring about that? Mm-hmm. The bottom line is, if you're driving them to your website, you could be selling to them on there, and you're taking out Amazon as the middleman. So that is why that rule is in place. But a lot of people don't see that.
Exactly. I mean, Amazon spent 20+ years now building their platform, and so they're saying, a lot of these. They're saying, okay, we built the sandbox, play in our sandbox, but don't play outside of it.
Yeah, exactly. Take the sand out where you're done.
Yeah, yep. And then the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to market your other products, even those that are sold on Amazon, because they don't want the communication that you provide to your customers to be promotional. So that's another one to keep in mind. And then ultimately, you just want to focus your communication on just that one order, the item that they purchased, and you're going to be fine. There's more to it than that, but and you can research those rules, but that's the overall. Now, transitioning now, talking a little bit about my campaign sequence, I've really discovered that just through building online businesses for quite some time now, the best way to achieve great results in any business you're trying to build is to try and look at what people are doing, and then what most people are doing rather, and then do it differently, right? And so what I found, especially after looking at this company, was CD Baby is a company. They sold for $22 million, and the founder realized that most businesses are way too serious in their customer communications. And so what he did is he sat down and he wrote this very simple email, and it was sort of an inspiration for me for the email campaign that I use to customers, which I'll get to in a moment. But this is a little bit of the email. I'll mention just a few things. I won't say out the whole part, but it's basically an over-the-top email with humor incorporated to provide a unique experience to these customers that they're most likely not seeing if they're buying, music from another source. And they talk about a team of 50 employees inspecting your CD and polishing it to make sure it was in the best possible condition before mailing. And again, this is a little bit older example in that he sold this company, I think, in 2008. But he says our packaging specialist from Japan lit a candle and a hush fell over the crowd as he put your CD into the finest gold-lined box that money can buy. And they also talk about putting the package in a private CD Baby jet and sending it on your way, right? So this is stuff that if you read this, and even if you were to right now Google CD Baby jet, you'll find tens of thousands, maybe more than that. I got to look at the count, but you'll find a ton of results from people because they talked about this experience of seeing this unusual follow-up email after a purchase was done.
It reminds me of a service that I use to kind of save money is Digit. It'll pull like random amounts out of my bank account each day and kind of put them in a savings account. I remember one of the first things that they sent me a text message, and I get like this video of, I think, Owen Wilson like cheering. And, I mean, you're sitting there going, what the heck is this? But I remember to this day that I know if I text them the word awesome, I get the dude, where's my car? Comes in. The little things that make you remember that kind of stuff. Now I'm talking about it on a webinar. So you've made an impression, and now you're that company that does that.
Definitely. And so, I mean, I hadn't heard of that company before, but that you had a similar experience to what I had when I first read about this company using that, and then translating that into, part of what helped them do really well with their business. But so what I found too, again, when I was looking at other Amazon sellers, just from my own purchasing experiences, I found that they were really too serious with their emails as well. So this is a sequence that I use, somewhat modified, and then I'll give you a link to use it at the end if you want to check it out. So the first email that I send, it goes immediately after purchase, and then it says, thank you for, and then this is just a little merge tag that automatically replaces the text with the product that you're selling. But so it just says, thank you for your purchase. And then I go, hello, first buyer. Thank you for purchasing your product. And then I mentioned this is the first of 3 emails you receive. So again, I'm setting an expectation that it's not going to be a lot of emails, just 3. And again, at any email at the bottom, they can always click a link to not receive any more emails in the future. But then I include a link to the order. And then I kind of go along here saying, if for whatever reason you have any issues receiving your product, don't worry, we have you covered. Reply to this email or contact Amazon customer service right away. So for me, at least, I like to try and send people to Amazon customer service, so I don't have to deal with the emails myself.
Yep.
But so that's why I'll usually say that, reply to this email or contact customer service, right? So they know they're covered either way. But then this line here where I say, while you wait for your item to be delivered, please find a stranger to high five. It'll make their day and you'll enjoy it too. Right now, that one little line, maybe it's not that funny to you guys. I think it's funny, but it's maybe because I wrote it. But
I was sitting there going, now, am I going to start seeing people buying your product and running around high-fiving people? Oh, I know who he bought from today.
Yeah, and so this little one line is more just like that's different. That's not something that I see every day when I purchase products. And it's just again, thank you for your purchase, and I include the name and then the company name. And so the first email is really just to show, okay, we're here, we're making sure that you're going to be taken care of and that your purchase is going to be, that your product's going to be okay. And the second email then is when I ask for a review. And so this is sent 5 days after delivery. And I ask, how is your product working for you? I found that when you ask a question, as opposed to just writing out a typical sentence, specifically if you ask a question, though, you're more able to get better open rates on your emails because you're asking them a question and they kind of feel obligated to respond. And then in the body, I say, okay, hello, This is the second of 3 emails you receive from us. By now, Amazon should have delivered your brand new product. Remember, if you have any issues whatsoever, please reply to this email, or again, contact Amazon customer service. And then this is where we transition into the requests, right? So we're a growing company, appreciate every purchase. We strive to ensure that all of our customers are completely satisfied, and it's our hope that you truly are. And this is where it's a 2-minute favor to ask, right? So you're only asking for 2 minutes of their time. You'd even call it a 60-second favor to ask. That's just what I said. And then if this product has met or exceeded your expectations, we would love to hear about it. Please spread the word by leaving a review. It will only take 2 minutes and it's very much appreciated. Feel free to comment on how the product is working for you and our customer service. Your feedback helps ensure we keep doing things right. You can create your review here. And then the review link is there. And I say, well, thank you profusely, and even find a homeless kitten to hug on your behalf.
And you know what? Do you really use these? Are these set up for your right now, or are these kind of given out for people to use?
I use different humor in my campaigns, but it's very much follows the same structure, right?
Okay.
So I use different types of one-liners, but the reason why I know they work is that I found lots of people in the reviews saying things to the effect of the jokes that I was putting in the emails.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is I've seen something like this before. I remember a review like this, and I was searching through my email while I'm doing this. I'm typing in like homeless kitten, looking for it because I remember something like this.
So by this point now, it might have been someone that's watched me talk about this before, and then they've incorporated the same joke into their email. But
Yeah.
if it's one of my products, I guess maybe don't say anything.
I don't know. I couldn't find it, so I don't. Maybe I'm hallucinating, but there's also just a little trick that I remember. Which company is it? One company that crap. I'll remember it. They send, when you unsubscribe from their email campaigns, they get something like, we're going to go slap our intern Joe now because you've unsubscribed from this email thing. If you would like to thank Joe, or to not have us not slap Joe, click here. Then the next email you get is them with a GIF of him slapping Joe.
Yeah.
And that's a humorous thing, but it makes you think about it. Like, I don't really want to have a guy slapped.
Yeah, so that's great. And then, but even so, let me come back up into the email, and I kind of want to break down a little bit of why I wrote this the way that I did, so you can kind of understand some of the reasoning behind it. So the part of it's saying, you know, if the product has met or exceeded your expectations. So I'm sort of saying ahead of time, you know, if you like it, we'd like to hear about it. But then, you know, down at the bottom, if you don't like it, reply to us before leaving a review so we can take care of any issues first, right? So we're kind of already trying to diffuse someone that may not have liked the product or they want to leave a review, and to contact you first to try and make it right. And then another thing too is that this other section here is people sometimes they don't want to write a review because they don't know what to say. So by saying, you know, feel free to comment on how the product is working for you and our customer service, you're kind of giving them a couple ideas of what to write about in the review right before you then put the link and say, here's where you can post the review. So that's kind of the reasoning for it. And then
go back to that one last time. I want to point out two other things I notice as kind of in the consumer end. If you look at the top, the subject line and the salutation on there, they're both personalized for that purchase. So you got your product name hopping in there and your first name. It's not a generic form letter. It shows you actually took a little bit of time to kind of do this. The other thing I'd like to note is the 2-minute favor to ask is in bold in the middle there. And it goes back to his first email where he was establishing expectations. And he's doing it again here with the bold statement saying, hey, it's only going to take you 2 minutes. I'm not asking you to write a novel or a short essay or whatever. I just need 2 minutes of your time. And then he explains why that is important to him or to the company.
Definitely. Yep. That's all great. It's great observations. And then when you continue on, you know, another thing that you could do is, instead of asking for a review in your second email, you could ask for seller feedback instead of a review. And the reason for this, I was going to ask why, but I'll just tell you, is that at least with this, so the service that we built, which I'll get to in a little bit later, you can check a box where if you get a negative seller feedback, you can stop sending emails to those people automatically. And then you can get those feedbacks removed, because if someone leaves a negative seller feedback, then, and it's in the form of a review, you can have that removed by Amazon. But so that's what you can do. I personally prefer to just ask for reviews, and the way that the reason that as opposed to asking for feedback first is that even if you might get a few more negative reviews, in aggregate, you get a lot more positive reviews over time. And so you can get more reviews that way. And then the final email, this is the one just, again, I mentioned before, first of 3 emails. And so this one's sent 10 days after delivery. So it just, the subject line even says last email. So again, making sure that they know last time you're going to see from them. And again, so it's going to find an email to you regarding your brand new product. If you've not left a review already, we really appreciate you doing that. And we strive for high quality product and customer experience. If you have just 2 minutes to spare and are enjoying your product, please leave us a review here. So again, a review link asking. Then another joke. For each review we receive, we will find a public place to spontaneously dance in your honor. And then lastly, again, if there's any issues with the product, please reply to this email directly or contact Amazon customer service before leaving a review. So again, you're trying to diffuse if they aren't satisfied, maybe that's why they haven't left a review, then again, reply to this email, or to save you time, contact Amazon service. And then I just pretty much finish it up with saying, thank you, and please have a fantastically glorious day. Again, this is the last email received from us. So we really do hope you're enjoying your purchase. And that's pretty much it. That's the sequence that I follow for the products that I've been selling. And by incorporating a little bit of humor, it's worked really well by looking into those reviews and seeing people referencing the humor that I was using. So now, what tool do I use? So most of the tools on the market right now really focus on anyone that's selling on Amazon. I know that a lot of you are doing either retail arbitrage, or that's your primary thing you're doing, or maybe you're doing private labeling as well. But what we did for this is we focused on specifically the pain points that brand owners and private labels experience. So salesbacker.com/go/FBAM is a link you can go to sign up and check it out. But I want to show you a quick demo as well. Now, when you use that link there, you can also get the sequence of emails I shared when you create your account. So let me actually demo here. I'm going to switch back to my other screen.
Yeah, go for it. I'm interested because I haven't looked at it yet. I always refrain from doing it so that during these Hangouts, I can ask questions like somebody who's watching it for the first time is also doing. So it's always like a surprise to me. I'm always so excited to see the demo of what's going on because I hadn't seen it.
Now I'm going to see. There we go. So now you can see. Can you see this?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is what it looks like, right? As soon as you log in, you're greeted with some stats to show you how well you're doing on the product review side and also on the seller feedback side. Again, if you're a retail arbitrage, you know seller feedback is really important for you in terms of buy box and all that. But since if you're going to be doing private label as well, then the product review component is really important. And then you can see the number of orders, the number of emails that have been sent, and then also a conversion ratio, so you can get a rough idea of how many reviews you've been receiving and how well your feedback's been doing. And then below that, you can see what your most recently sent emails were, just so you can make sure things are going out smoothly. And then I'm sure that none of you have found this before, but sometimes the people on Amazon are a little crazy. Some of the buyers, for lack of a better way to put it.
I would have never guessed that people on Amazon are a little crazy.
Sometimes you run into these people. So if you have that situation, you can search their buyer name, their email, their order ID, or whatever, and then you can stop the email sequence that they're on, or you can just blacklist them so they don't ever see an email from you again if they purchase from you again. So that's something you can do. And then, so continuing on to, again, because we focused really on people that are doing private label, again, it works for anyone that's selling on Amazon, but because we're doing that, we built the UI to be very product centric. So you see your list of products once you sign up for an account, and then it displays your list of products and then tells you whether or not you have a campaign running. And you can open up this product name, and then you can edit the product name here. So that way, when you're personalizing your campaign sequence, it'll be a more natural sounding name, since if you're doing a product on Amazon, you more likely have a longer title. And so you can shorten that. And then you can see really quickly, you can see which campaign you're doing. You can choose a different campaign to run. You can also see your bestseller rank. You can also see the reviews that are being pulled into the app as well. And then you can also just filter through those reviews and reply to them. And then again, because we're focused on private label and you're getting product reviews and seller feedback that you're focused on, you can also get email alerts on those. So you can get email alerts when someone's left you seller feedback that's negative, or when you get product reviews, 5 stars, 3, 4, etc. I usually just focus on 3 stars or less, and then I reply to those reviews. And so those are a couple of things that the tool does as well. And then within the actual campaign area, this is where you can see, we have pre-written campaigns based on what your focus may be. So if your focus is to get product reviews, you can use this campaign. If your focus is on getting seller feedback, you can use the seller feedback campaign. But if you wanted to get both, then it's a different combination. And so it's very straightforward. You can see the messages you have. You can open up a message, and then that's a WYSIWYG editor. So just what you see is what you get, and you type in, and you can put in these different types of merge tags where it will automatically replace the buyer first name, for example, your product
Where
name.
do you put those in at?
So inside, so if you go to this area here, you can look at the merge tags list, and then you can put these into any email that you put. So it's going to pull this information in.
And you just need to put those little asterisks on each side of it to make it go. Okay.
Yeah, and so a lot of people a lot of the users we have, they just use one of the default campaigns and just slightly modify. So for example, they'll change the name at the bottom, and that's about it that they'll do. And so the thing I mentioned earlier about being able to unsubscribe someone that's left negative seller feedback. So this is why you'd maybe ask for seller feedback first, because then if you get negative seller feedback, you can unsubscribe them from getting emails in the future from you. And so you can do that. And then you can also control, how soon the email should be sent at. So say, for example, 2 days after the order has been shipped or whatever, and you could save that. And then also you can add a file attachment. So one of the good strategies that you can do is instead of you don't even have to necessarily advertise that you're giving away some type of an ebook on your product. But if you weren't, and then someone buys your product and then you send them something anyways, then that's a great way to try and build that reciprocity in, where you're saying, hey, here's this free gift. Say you're selling, again, I'll use the example I've used before, a barbecue grill brush, and you give out a barbecue guide for your top 10 best barbecue recipes. And it's not something you're advertising on the listing, then that's something that they're like, oh, wow, cool. And then you could say, hey, I just sent this out. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to get a review from you. And they're more likely to leave that because you're giving them some type of a free gift. So that's something to keep in mind as a strategy, and you can do that there. I mentioned too, those rules that they have. This is just kind of the bullet points, but you can go to Amazon and see all those. But that's pretty much it. It's really straightforward in terms of, you sign up, you set up your campaign, you turn them on to be running or not, and then it's running like that.
Yeah, it runs in the background, and that's the awesome part. And I really like the feature that notifies you when you get a review that's like 3 stars or less. Because if you had a product, now, like say I'm going back to the hotel example, and someone left a negative review, your response to that is as valuable as a positive review in some cases, because it shows that you are paying attention and you are there to make something right if something is wrong.
Definitely. And that's the thing too, is that those people that see those negative reviews, they'll look at them, and then just seeing that you've replied, as long as it's not like a combative reply, even if the review is ridiculous.
Dumbass, it's not that bad of a product. Blah, blah. You don't do that. But if you ever look at hotel ones, I think about it, and they say, well, we apologize for this. We've made the steps to fix it, and this won't happen again for anybody in a future stay. I mean, that makes a difference to me as somebody who wants to stay there.
Yeah, definitely. And just to clarify too, you can still see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. You are good.
PowerPoint's still back on. Okay. So this was the again, I mentioned I want to get to questions that come up as well, but one of the extra bonuses, again, just for people sticking around and listening to this, I mentioned the top 10,000 reviewers before, where you're going there, you find these email addresses, and you can see their interests. Well, we actually have an entire 10,000, the entire database. So every single person that's on this list, top 10,000 reviewers, have this entire Excel database. So if you just email us, just salesbacker.com/contact, just include the subject line Booyah. After you sign up through salesbacker.com/go/FBAM, then you can get this access to this as well. So again, and the one thing I didn't even really mention, but when you first sign up, we don't ask for any credit card information. You can actually even pay for the product unless you're sending a lot of emails. So you can start emailing and going right away. And then it's also a full 60-day trial as well. So instead of the 30 days, so you can send as many emails as you want in 60 days. And we also have that bonus reviewer database. So if you want to try and help get some additional reviews for your product, then you can use that to help you contact people as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in something that no one else kind of knew was happening, because that's the kind of random stuff that I do. Because I think I'd have a blast with this. But also, if you do this free trial, you can send me an email, and I'll help you draft your review letters. because I think that would just be a blast. I'm already thinking of jokes and fun things to drop in there. So if you're interested and you want to do the 60-day free trial, you can also contact me via Facebook, and I'll help you write some drafts. I get my creativity on a little bit.
Awesome. That sounds fun.
Oh, I don't think I would ever have so much fun. I'm already thinking of stuff for me. I mean, you sparked my interest just having fun there.
Awesome. Well, cool. So I mean, that's what I really wanted to cover, was just strategies to help you get reviews, show you the tool that we built to help you get them, and then give you some extra value with the reviewer database, and then also the extended trial. So if people want to sign up and check it out, that's great. And then, yeah, if there's any questions, let
Okay.
me know.
So I've been seeing some questions through like private messages and things on my phone. So first one is, when you do start using this, how soon do you typically see people kind of responding? And is there a time period that you should reevaluate your message or your messaging to improve or kind of fix anything that's wrong?
Yeah. So I think that you can see an impact pretty much immediately, right? Because you're going to be, as soon as when you first sign up, every campaign and everything is set to pause, because we don't want you to sign up and not, we would not automatically start sending emails that you didn't check out and decide to make edits to.
Very nice of you.
That is a common question we get, actually. But so when you first sign up, once you do turn it on, though, your real organic buyers are going to be getting those emails, and you're going to get people that reply to them. They'll say things like, "Hey, thanks, I just left a review," and you'll be like, "Awesome," and you'll know, okay, it's working, right? And so in that regard, it's pretty immediate. You'll start to see it. Now, obviously, the more sales you're doing right now, the more dramatic that impact will be, but it's definitely going to provide a lot more people to review your product. Because if you think about the two different scenarios, one scenario where you're selling products and you're not asking for a review, and then your second scenario where you are selling products and you're asking for a review, then obviously the people that you're asking are going to be more likely to leave a review than not. Now, to the second point of your question of whether or not you should be altering your campaign, I don't necessarily think that you need to. I mean, it's something where once you get it set up and you're happy with the results, sure, if you decide, okay, hey, maybe there's this ebook I could do that I could offer as an extra bonus, and that's something you could add into your campaign later. But in terms of just the benefit of actually getting up and going faster, I would say just get something going, and you can always tweak it later. But in terms of trying to really do a lot of tweaking, it's more set up to be set it and forget it in that regard.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question from my aspect of it. Is there any feature where you can kind of do some A/B testing when you're starting off your feed or with your request to see if one messaging or one type of messaging works better than another?
That's something we've had some requests for, but we haven't built into the product yet. Our plan was to pretty much approach this problem of trying to help get more reviews for products first, and then see what people liked, and then add features as we went along to do that. But it's not something we have yet, but it's something we've had people request for. We have a long list of our own wish list items, and also of users as well.
I imagine your wish list could be, I imagine I could add to the wish list for days. I was talking with some guy earlier today, and I just go, well, this would be cool to do. I think that I just have all these ideas, and I'm just happy to tell everybody. So I just was curious about that. Mitch from Facebook wanted to know, what's kind of the average response rate that people should be looking for on kind of a feedback? Is it like 5%, 20%? Do you have a relevant number with that?
Yeah, so the range is it's one of those questions where I hate to say that the answer varies, but it does. If you, for example, were selling something in like the supplement space, well, people are just less likely in general to review those types of products as opposed to, say, like their latest thing they bought for their baby. And so that's one caveat I'll say. But I look at what people post publicly in Facebook groups just in terms of what they're getting. And I've seen people get up to 17%, but I've also seen people in the lowest single digits. So usually it's somewhere in between that range. And for the most part, it's usually single digit. But if you think about a typical scenario where you're not emailing those customers, then there's very few people, even if you just think about your own buying behavior. Do you buy something and think, hey, I'm going to go write a review? No, not really. You're not going to. You'll use your product and go about your day. But when you get an email saying, hey, I know that you just bought this, could you leave a review? Then you're going to get a lot more people actually responding to it because they think, oh, I got a couple minutes, I'll leave a quick review.
Now you're making me
that's how
start
it works.
feel like a jackass because I've passed up on some of those emails going, I didn't really like the product. And one thing I will mention as a consumer, I am more likely to write a review on a product if I really like it or if I hate it.
Yep.
You're not going to have a lot of people go, it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my time to tell you, it was just another roll of toilet paper. I really don't know what we got excited about there. So you can expect really positive reviews or negative ones to show up. But I don't think, I'm guessing you could probably back this up. I don't think there's just a lot of middle of the road, yeah, it's fine, thanks, kind of responses.
Yeah, I think that's true, right? Most people are going to leave a positive review, especially if you've done well in the first place of, doing your research for your product and making sure you've done well with that. But yeah, most of the time it's either a positive 5-star review or you're going to get the occasional, shouldn't use crazy as a word, I guess, but you're going to get the occasional unruly customer that's leaving a 1-star review for something really bizarre.
I've had in seller feedbacks where I've been at, and like you said earlier, my group isn't super private label, but I do like the feedback, the seller feedback bit of it, because I've had people that give me a one review and say the service was great, best seller on Amazon. You're like, can you guys not read? So like, I mean, it's clearly selling you the 5 stars better. So yeah, you may get those crazy reviews on there, but could you talk a little bit about, you mentioned something about you getting feedbacks removed. It was on one of your earlier slides, and you said you would touch on that later.
Yeah.
Could you touch on that real quick?
Yeah. So again, I mean, if you're selling the product and someone's left you a seller feedback, and this is applicable even if you're just doing retail arbitrage right now, but if someone leaves a feedback for you, a seller feedback, and in that feedback, it reads like a product review, like a review of the product that they purchased, then that's not feedback that should be left there. So you can email Amazon through Seller Central support and say, hey, this is a product review and it's left as seller feedback. Can you remove it? Now, the funny thing is that actually they've updated their help center. I can't remember when they did this, but it's been around for a while now. When you actually put in the order and you go through this process in the help area, often you go through the entire thing without even submitting a ticket, and then they just remove the feedback without even.
Oh yeah,
right? Because they're using, their Amazon wizardry magic to read the review text and understand the sentiment behind it, and then they'll just automatically remove it.
Yeah, I think there are wizards. They actually have a department at Amazon with a bunch of wizards that just wave wands all day. But yeah, if you're looking for that, you can go up to the top right of your Seller Central, hit the little search bar. It'll pop that over. The bottom, the middle will say contact us. You can pull that up. Then you can paste your order number into, like, I think it's orders, and then you can request that feedback to remove. You'd be amazed if you are sitting there with a few negative seller feedbacks. They do remove them if it is a shipping experience that is that is done by the fulfillment services of Amazon, so FBA ones. Yep. You can just click the little button, this is a fulfillment service by them, and they'll remove it. Or if it's a product feedback, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you get an automatic removal if it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I think those are all the questions that I have. Do you have anything else that, like, tips of wisdom or fun little stories that you?
I think the best tip of wisdom or story would be, and I usually, whenever I have an opportunity to talk to people, even if it's a large, even if it's a large crowd, if a small crowd, doesn't matter, even if it's 2 people, I'll say that if you're doing this on the side and you're building a side business, the last thing you want to do is tell your coworkers that you're doing that, because that's how 6 years ago, almost to the day, I was fired from my day job because I was telling coworkers I had a side business, and ultimately that business kept doing better and better. And it was actually Amazon's affiliate program. I was making money from their affiliate program. And I ended up getting fired, and they didn't, of course, because they don't want to tell you why anytime you get let go. But I talked to one of the guys I used to work with, and he said, "Yeah, it's because you weren't really committed to the business because you were trying to do your own thing on the side." So, some businesses, they like that entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe they like that maybe you will eventually leave the company, but don't tell people that you're building a business on the side if you're working with a bunch of coworkers. Don't do it.
Yeah, that sounds like something that some people could mistakenly do. So you're telling me that you having all this stuff and being a seller on Amazon and being behind all this was because you got fired? Because you were telling everybody this was a good idea to do?
So yes, nearly 6. I have what I call my fireversary, and I needed to double check because I know it's in middle October, but I can't remember. I always forget which day it is. So around this time, I always double check the calendar. It's on my calendar, but I check to see when it's coming up. But I call it my fireversary because I got fired from Amazon, and I was in the fortunate position. And I know that maybe some people listening have had the situation before with a let go, and it's unfortunate. But I was fortunately in a position where I was doing things on the side for so long. Something finally stuck with Amazon's affiliate program. I was ranking websites on Google and making money from Amazon's commissions like that. And then I lost the job, and I was already making more from my affiliate earnings than my day job. So I thought, okay, well, now I'm in business for myself full time, and that's what I did. And then ever since I've been doing my own business.
Okay, and then the last thing I always like to do, obviously everybody can see on the screen, Salesbacker. You can go there and sign up for your 60-day free trial. Is there anything else, if somebody wants to contact you or learn more about what you do or find other products or services that you're behind, you get kind of your elevator pitch here. So what else do you do and how can people reach you?
Yeah, actually, I'll just type my direct email in here. So if people want to email me, this is chris@salesbacker.com. If you needed support, then it would just be support@salesbacker.com. But if you wanted to just reach me individually, then you can email me, and I'm happy to share any feedback. I've been part of the reason why I like to do this and run businesses where I work with other entrepreneurs is because when I lost my job, I got into blogging and talking about online business, and I thought, okay, hey, this is something that's fun to talk about because people are interested in building their own thing. So feel free to email me any questions you have. Happy to help.
And we want to thank you for joining this evening, and you're always welcome back for any other type of presentations. If you ever want to come in and go, well, copy of your listing, and you want to do one on that, let me know. We'll get you back on here because I really enjoyed this. But thank you for coming, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure to go check out salesbacker.com/go/FBAM for FBA Master. Get your free day or your free trial. I mean, worst thing you're going to do is have a free account for 60 days. There's no credit card information, so don't see a downfall there. But I do appreciate it, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here on a Tuesday night.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for continuing the trend of every Chris I meet, I like.
Oh, good.
Every fellow Chris.
Have a good night, everyone, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.